mine eyes with such an eager coveting, were bent to rid them of their 10 years' thirst, no other sense was waking, and e'en they were faint on either side from heat of aught, so tangled in its customed toils that smile of saintly brightness drew me to itself, when forcibly toward the left my sight the sacred virgins turned, for from their lips I heard the warning sounds, too fixed to gaze. Awhile my vision labored, as when late upon the o'erstrained eyes the sun hath smote, but soon the lesser object, as the view was now recovered, lesser in respect to that excessive sensible, whence late I had perforce been sundered. On their right I marked that glorious army wheel, and turn, against the sun and sevenfold lights, their front. As when, their bucklers for protection rised, a well-ranged troop, with portly banners curled, will circling, ere the whole can change their ground, e'en thus the goodly regiment of heathen proceeding, all did pass us, ere the car had slopped his beam. Attendant at the wheels the damsels turned, and on the griffin moved the sacred burden, with a pace so smooth, no feather on him trembled. The fair dame who through the wave had drawn me, companied by Statius and myself, pursued the wheel, whose orbit, rolling, marked a lesser arch. Through the high wood, now void, the more her blame, who by the serpent was beguiled, I passed with step and cadence to the harmony angelic. Onward had we moved, as far perchance as arrow at 3 several flights full-winged had sped, when from her station down descended Beatrice. With one voice all murmured Adam, circling next a plant despoiled of flowers and leaf on every bough. Its tresses, spreading more as more they rose, were such, as midst their forest wilds for height the Indians might have gazed at. Blessed thou, Griffin, whose beak hath never plucked that tree pleasant to taste, for hence the appetite was warped to evil. Round the stately trunk thus shouted forth the rest, to whom returned the animal twice gendered, yea, for so the generation of the just are saved. And turning to the chariot pole, to foot he drew it of the widowed branch, and bound their left unto the stalk whereon it grew. As when large floods of radiance from above stream, with that radiance mingled, which ascends next after setting of the scaly sign, our plants then burgeon, and each wears anew his wonted colors, ere the sun have yacked beneath another star his flamy steeds, thus putting forth a hue, more faint than rose, and deeper than the violet, was renewed the plant, erewhile in all its branches bare. Unearthly was the hymn, which then arose. I understood it not, nor to the end endured the harmony. Had I the skill to pencil forth, how close unpitying eyes slumbering, when Syrinx warbled, eyes that paid so dearly for their watching, then like painter, that with a model paints, I might design the manner of my falling into sleep. But fain who will the slumber cunningly, I pass it by to when I wacked, and tell how suddenly a flash of splendor rent the curtain of my sleep, and one cries out, Arise, what dost thou? As the chosen 3, on Tabor's mount, admitted to behold the blossoming of that fair tree, whose fruit is coveted of angels, and doth make perpetual feast in heaven, to themselves returning at the word, whence deeper sleeps were broken, that they their tribe diminished saw, both Moses and Elias gone, and Shang the stole their master wore, thus to myself returning, over me beheld I stand the piteous one, who crossed the stream had brought my steps. And where, all doubting, I exclaimed, is Beatrice? See her, she replied, beneath the fresh leaf seated on its root. Behold associate choir that circles her. The others, with a melody more sweet and more profound, journeying to higher realms, upon the griffin tend. If there her words were clost, I know not, but mine eyes had now ta'en view of her, by whom all other thoughts were barred admittance. On the very ground alone she sat, as she had there been left to guard upon the wain, which I beheld bound to the twiform beast. The 7 nymphs did make themselves a cloister round about her, and in their hands upheld those lights secure from blast septentrion and the gusty south. A little while thou shalt be forester here, and citizen shalt be forever with me, of that true Rome, wherein Christ dwells a Roman to profit the misguided world. Keep now thine eyes upon the car, and what thou sayest, take heed thou write, returning to that place. Thus Beatrice, at whose feet inclined devout, at her behest, my thought and eyes, I, as she bade, directed. Never fire, with so swift motion, forth a stormy cloud leaped downward from the welkin's farthest bound, as I beheld the bird of Jove descending pounce on the tree, and, as he rushed, the rind, disparting crush beneath him, buds much more in leaflets. On the car with all his might he struck, whence, staggering like a ship, it reeled, at random drive-in, to starboard now, o'ercome, and now to larboard, by the vaulting waves. Next springing up into the chariot's womb a fox I saw, with hunger seeming pinned of all good food. But, for his ugly sins the saintly maid rebuking him, away scampering he turned, fast as his hidebound corpse would bear him. Next, from whence before he came, I saw the eagle dart into the hollow car, and leave it with his feathers lind, and then a voice, like that which issues forth from heart with sorrow rived, did issue forth from heaven, and, O poor bark of mine, it cried, how badly art thou freighted. Then, it seemed, that the earth opened between either wheel, and I beheld a dragon issue thence, that through the chariot fixed his forked train, and like a wasp that draggeth back the sting, so drawing forth his baleful train, he dragged part of the bottom forth, and went his way exulting. What remained, as lively turf with green herb, so did clothe itself with plumes, which haply had with purpose chaste and kind been offered, and therewith were clothed the wheels, both one and other, and the beam, so quickly a sigh were not breathed sooner. Thus transformed, the holy structure, through its several parts, did put forth heads, 3 on the beam, and 1 on every side, the first like oxen horned, but with a single horn upon their front the 4. Like monsters sight hath never seen. O'er it methought there sat, secure as rock on mountain's lofty top, a shameless whore, whose can roved loosely round her. At her side, as 'twere that none might bear her off, I saw a giant stand, and ever and anon they mingled kisses. But, her lustful eyes chancing on me to wander, that fell minion scourged her from head to foot all o'er, then full of jealousy, and fierce with rage, unloosed the monster, and dragged on, so far across the forest, that from me its shades alone shielded the harlot and the new-formed brute.